Stay safe.
Stay active.
And stay healthy.
I'm Mrs. Barrett from PASS, Physical Activity and Sports Specialist, and we hope you're keeping active and healthy at home or at school. This PE lesson is for children in reception classes, so early years foundation stage, and it is the second striking and fielding lesson. So well done if you're watching this video, because hopefully it means that you've already done lesson 1 of striking and fielding and you're ready to move on to lesson 2. Lesson 2 is all going to be about throwing, because throwing is a really important skill. We're going to be thinking about different ways that we can throw, maybe sometimes underarm and sometimes overarm, so we have better control at using our hands when doing those different skills. So for this throwing activity, you will need lots of rolled up socks that you're going to be able to throw, and we'll need some targets. And to start with, we will also need something to use as a line of obstacles. So I've just got some watering cans or bottles. If you're working indoors, you might have a line of cushions or cuddly toys. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video there to get your big stash of rolled up socks and some things to use as obstacles for our warm-up activity. Okay, welcome back. I hope you're ready for our warm-up. So you'll need those rolled up socks and you'll need a line of obstacles across the middle of the space that you're working in. For your warm-up, you'll also need a partner to do this task with. So my daughter Xanthi is going to help us do our warm-up today. So we're going to stand opposite each other with our line of obstacles in the middle. So Xanthi, do you want to choose a side of the line of watering cans that you're going to be on? Awesome. And in a moment, I'm going to stand facing Xanthi. Do you want to go right to the middle of that space, Xanthi? And I'm going to stand facing Xanthi. And already there's lots of rolled up socks on the floor on both sides of that centre line. What we're going to do when I say go is pick up any socks that are on our side of the line and throw them over in any way that we want to try and get rid of them into our opponent or the other person's side of the line. The idea of the game is to pick the equipment up as quick as you can and get rid of it as quick as you can. You don't want to hang on to the equipment. You want to collect it quick and throw it fast as well. And remember, you can throw it in any different way that you like to try and throw it into the space rather than at the person. Okay, Xanthi, should we get ready for our warm-up? So we can't go past the line of cones, okay? And we've got to try and pick up any socks that are on our side and throw them over to the opposite side. Are you ready? Let's go. You might encourage them to pick up more than one at a time, to use both hands and throw it in different ways. So you might throw, you could throw lots of them at the same time. You might throw overarm, you might throw underarm. Okay, freeze there. After a little while of playing, you stop the game and then you count up how many pieces of equipment you've got on your side and how many pieces of equipment you've got on the other side. And the winner is the one with the least amount of equipment on their side, not the most. Now I can already see, just from estimating, that I've got a lot more socks on my side than on Xanthi's side. Xanthi's only got 3 and I've got about 8 pieces of equipment on my side, okay? But obviously you can play that game as many times as you like, and it definitely gets you nicely warmed up, your heart beating faster, breathing deeper and heavier, ready for our first throwing activity. So if you want to pause the video there and have a longer game of the tidy up game. Hi, welcome back. Hopefully you're feeling nice and warm now, ready for our first throwing activity. So for this activity, we're going to be throwing different ways towards targets. So that helps children to see if they can have control over small and large objects and helps them to really feel focused on throwing towards something. So you'll need to create 3 or more targets that they could throw at, either in your garden or in the inside space that you're using. So I've used a wheelie bin where I've put some masking tape on there to create the idea of some cricket stumps. If you haven't got a wheelie bin, we've also got a slide that I've put on top of there, a cuddly toy. It gives them something nice and visual to aim at. And we've also got a hula hoop placed on the floor, which you may have at home, that the children can have a go at throwing the equipment into. So as well as 3 or more targets, you will also need something to throw. So you could continue using your rolled up socks from the warm-up, or you could now have a go at a ball or a beanbag or any other type of equipment that you have at home. So if you'd like to pause the video there and make sure you've got some targets to throw at and something to throw. Okay, so we're ready now to have a go at throwing at our target. So once you've chosen what equipment you're going to use, I'm going to use the rolled up socks. We're going to start by facing the first piece of equipment, and you don't want them to be too close to it to make it too easy, but equally you don't want to be too far away from your equipment to make it too tricky. So think about the best place to start so that you're challenging yourselves. Okay, now I'm going to have a go at throwing underarm towards my target. So I make sure I look at my target before I throw. We want to try and make sure we hit it with our equipment. Okay, then I'm going to run and pick it up again and then have another go. Again, you can have as many goes as you like on one, or they could have, say, 3 goes on one target and then move on to the next target. Now, this one might be a bit trickier because it's a little bit smaller, so I really need to focus on looking at my target and see if I can hit it. And I'm going to run and collect and go back to my start to see if I can hit my target. Hey! Remember to reset your target if you do manage to hit it down. Okay, I'm now going to move on to my last target, which is now the hula hoop on the floor. So this one might be a bit trickier again because it might be a bit smaller. It's really important that we look at our target before we throw. And this time I'm going to think about using the hand that I haven't got my equipment in to aim at my target. And hopefully that's going to help me to make sure that I throw into the target. Oh! And I'm going to run and then I'm going to have another go. Okay, so it's important that the children are accurate because we want the equipment to go in the target rather than rushing. So they can have a little bit of a go at doing the accuracy, and then if you did want to challenge them with a time so they could join accuracy and speed together, then please do. But we really want them to try and get their target rather than be super fast. Okay, welcome back. This is our last activity. We're still focusing on throwing and see if we can throw towards something. So again, you'll need something to throw. So it could be the rolled up socks, could be a ball, and you'll need some sort of final target to aim at. I've just got a cone, a blue cone in the corner of the garden, but you can continue to use your slide, your wheelie bin, or a cuddly toy as your final destination. This task is a little bit like golf. The children are aiming to see how many throws it takes them to get their ball or their socks into the hole or at the target. And again, the aim is to do it in the least number of throws rather than the most. So they need to think about the best way to throw that, which could be underarm, like we did towards our target, or they might this time choose to throw it in a different way, possibly overarm. And again, we're trying to focus on really looking at our target before we throw. So not really rushing, but really focusing on being accurate. So we're going to start at the tee like we would in a game of golf. So we're going to start to furthest away point from our hole, our target. And we're going to see if we can do it in the least amount of throws possible. Each time, encourage the children to count how many throws they've got to keep a running total. So it might be throw number 1. They then go and collect it and throw from where it landed. So that's number 1. I might then go number 2. Now I'm quite close to my target. And then 3. Okay. Now this time, I'm going to see if I can do it in less than 3 to try and beat my personal best. So I'm now going to try and do it in 2 or less throws. So that'd be 1, 2. And you can keep on having a go, trying to challenge the children to beat their personal best. And you can do a number of different holes around the garden. So maybe have the same place to tee off to start, but then have different holes around the garden in different angles to try and challenge them to throw towards. Okay, we're going to end with our cool down like we would in any other PE lesson. Using the rolled up socks or the ball that you've been using, we're going to draw the figure of 8 or number 8 around our legs. So you're going to start with your legs apart to give you space to move the equipment, and you're going to see if you can draw the number 8 around your legs. So one circle, then the other. So this encourages children to have better control over small equipment. If you're using a ball, it might be difficult to hold it in one hand, so you might have to move the ball around your feet to draw the number 8, 2 circles. And hopefully again they're using both hands and really concentrating on controlling their equipment. And you can challenge them by obviously getting them to speed up the task or trying to do it in the opposite direction. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the throwing activity today. Tune in to our tennis lesson, lesson 2 of tennis, later on in the week. And remember, stay safe, stay active, stay healthy.